Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to many of us. Welcome to CEO Talk, a series conducted by CXO TV, where a CEO narrate a story and share their learning and the success of building a great brand. So today we have with us Saket Agarwal, the founder and CEO of Onnivation. So Onnivation is a cross-border market accelerator that bring Israeli deep tech companies in India. They do a joint venture with Israeli deep tech companies and help them scale in India. They finance the growth and put in place the management team and resource. They run the business development and manage the customer success. Onnivation have partnered with companies in the areas of cybersecurity, data science, uh, retail tech, ed tech, user acquisition, and DevOps. Welcome, Saket.
Thank you, Anuj. Thank you for inviting me to the show.
Pleasure is ours. Saket, before we dive into the discussion, on Onnivation and how it's making a difference to the Israeli deep tech companies in India, just let me know a little bit about yourself. Although our research team managed to gather the information about your roots from Calcutta, you are a CA by profession. So just let me know, from CA, how you get into, or how, in fact, you plunge into the tech space. Just narrate a little bit about the journey. Yeah.
So I'm born and brought up in Calcutta. I did my CA and CS, which every Calcutta Marwadi does. And then I realized that I was not enjoying accounting and auditing as much. Then there was this journey of wanting to figure out what next. I spent a year setting up a vada pav chain in Calcutta, failed at it. It was called Ao Pao Khao. And yeah, funny name. Then tried a couple of businesses,
Uh-huh.
and I was very social. I used to attend a lot of events
Uh-huh.
organized by different trade bodies, startup events. And at one of the events, I met someone from the Israeli consulate. And that's when I learned that Israel is an amazing country which produces a lot of technology and innovation. India is a very large country which needs innovation and technology, and I thought it'll be a great partnership to work on. And
Yeah.
that's how Onnivation was born.
Sounds interesting, Saket. Let me understand the operating mechanics, of this relationship, because what I understand and what I decipher is like, you have been bringing them here. So is it more like, you operate more like an investor down there, or is it like a JV or what? Like?
Yeah, so we are a distribution company where we've looked at the most common problems that every Indian high growth company has on the tech side. And we figured that everyone struggles with cloud, data, security, three pillars for digital growth. And we created a portfolio of some of the best SaaS companies solving it. 80% of them turn out to be Israeli companies. So for a company that is growing really, really fast, when they want to solve for, let's say, cloud security, they don't even have the bandwidth to do a demo or an evaluation for one company. So once a customer buys one solution from us,
Uh-huh.
we give them. So if we are running distribution for a SaaS, Israeli SaaS company in India, we also see whether we should invest in the company, and through the fund we deploy capital.
Okay. And what kind of criteria you follow, in terms of picking those tech companies, like?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we're essentially looking for three things. One is it a must-have? Is it solving a must-have problem? So we're going after very, very deep problems and companies that are solving them in a manner which is hard to solve, and it becomes a must-have proposition. So cloud security, SOC to ISO compliance automation, these are very, very critical things, for
Mhm.
instance. Or a cloud cost optimization. We
Mhm.
spend so much money on cloud today as the startup community. So must-have is one. Second, we're looking at how innovative it is. If it is not something very innovative, then someone in India can also build it, or someone in Africa can also build it. Why are we, why do we remain in the business? So we're always looking at someone who's built a very strong algorithm play or tech play, which is hard to replicate. And the third is we're looking for a product that is very easy value creation. So if I come to you with a $100,000 SaaS product, uh, it should be a no-brainer for you to buy it from a value and ROI standpoint. So these are the three things we largely look for.
Wow. So you talk about the innovation, you talk about, I think, value creation. So definitely that make a lot of sense, especially in the tech space. And what I know is like you have significant experience in the Indian startup ecosystem as a tech consultant, and what are your observation about the global SaaS industry and the market in India, in terms of the investor appetite, talent, and the adoption of deep tech?
Um, Look, I mean, the observation is straightforward, uh, that companies are exploding with a lot of funding. There's a lot of pressure for them to deliver on the product and the growth metrics. And the only solution, there are two ways to do it. Like, one, you can hire a lot of people and build all the tech possible to build a great e-commerce company. The second is you can partner with companies who built different components of it, so that you don't have to hire and reinvent the wheel every time. So if you look at the hiring situation right now, it's a bloodbath. So companies are not able to hire with all the power, all the money they have. There's so much shortage of talent. The whole build versus buy dynamics has changed. Earlier, people would say we'll build everything in-house, including a CRM system or an accounting system. But now the world has changed. People are saying if someone's already solved for the best data warehousing or data query system, let us just partner with them and go to market faster. So we feel that there'll be more focusing on innovating in specific areas versus going and reinventing the wheel for everything that has already been solved by someone.
Absolutely, I agree with you. I think partnering is something which is very important. If we are looking at that kind of a growth, what we are experiencing in the tech space, and if you talk about Onnivation, so what I know is like Onnivation has developed a rather interesting solution for the Asian consumer tech companies. What are the role? What role has Indian Israel deep tech company corridors play here? And why did you see a need to set it up, and how did you go about it?
Yeah, so look, Indian companies are very strong with B2C, where we have a 1.5 billion population. We're solving for digital health, we are solving for e-commerce, we're solving for entertainment, media, gaming. Um, and when you're looking at growth, you need very strong fundamentals on the infrastructure side, data management side, security side, offering a great customer experience. Because of the background Israelis come from, which is the military background, they're always optimizing for analyzing data and making the most sense of data to prevent attack from the enemy. So we use the same data analytics tools or personalization tools or targeting tools at an e-commerce company for them to drive better customer experience. We use the same cybersecurity practices used in the Israeli military that could help an e-commerce company in India to make sure that user data is secure. And since Israel is very sensitive about their data, and they don't operate on cloud, the Israeli military, they build their own data centers and build tools to manage their own data centers. So a lot of Israeli companies come out from the army, where they create the best cloud infrastructure tools and something that is very valuable to Indian e-commerce media gaming companies. So the way I see is India is on a very strong growth trajectory on building solutions for consumers, and Israel becomes a very strong natural friend to help enable these growth companies with the right amount of backbone.
Okay. So, Saket, you mentioned about a couple of I would say the companies where you have been engaged with. So, can you just give us a couple of the examples where you can talk about a specific use case where you have built up that company and then probably invested and made an exit out of that and probably
We've not had an exit yet, but we've had several growth stories.
okay.
So we've had two companies, Spot and Granulate, both got acquired.
Okay.
We ran their sales in India. Both of them focus on cloud cost optimization. So almost all the mobile apps you would have on your phone, if you're in India, are customers of Spot or Granulate. We save millions of dollars to these companies. I invested in a company called Drata, which automates your entire SOC to ISO compliance journey. Okay. It's a completely manual process today, and Drata built a model to automate it. So that's doing really, really well. I'm also an investor in the company. Saw a need, invested, brought the company to India, now running their growth here. And going forward, we see a lot of play for security, data laws becoming stricter in India, and the scale becoming crazy. We also see a lot of attacks now. I see cybersecurity becoming a key role or key contributor in the journey going forward. Israel turns out to be a country where 20 to 30% of the world's funding on cybersecurity goes to Israeli security companies. So we're very well positioned there. So we've seen many successes across different companies where we brought them, we scaled them, invested in them, and very, very, very excited about the security space in general.
Okay. What we can see is the enterprises are now embracing to redefine their business models and digital strategies to keep themselves relevant in the changing business scenarios and customer expectations. So what is the focus you see among the organization on the technology to redefine their businesses?
The focus is, okay, let me say it differently. I think the awareness to change is very high. Focus is generally a hard thing to build because, there's so much happening around you. Like if you're a high growth company, you have so many different metrics to chase. The first thing that you want to optimize for is revenue, and then look at change management. Change management is always hard. So I would say that, in general, it's easier for the younger enterprises, startups to evolve because, the thesis which they start their business in the first place is that they want to evolve or solve a big problem fast. So we see a lot of focus by younger companies to change. With enterprises, we still feel that they're still comfortable with how things are going, and they take time to change. Having said that, I think this will change very soon in the next few months, where everyone will be hustling towards transforming because there'll be so much competition in every sector possible.
Absolutely agree with you. So, Saket, what are the top three challenges organization face in their business, or rather, I would say in their digital transformation initiatives?
The first problem, like I said, it's a mindset, right? Do you really need to change? That's a big question. Not only, let's say, CEO of the company is change driven, but the organization should also feel. Typically, the companies which are old, like have been there, done that, are very successful, are market leaders, in their categories, they get very comfortable. Like comfort zone is the biggest problem. So that's one problem we feel, that across a lot of enterprises, people are very comfortable. They're not realizing that there's a change coming. If you look at banks versus all the neobanks or the PTMs of the world, how they are disrupting the customer experience, and banks are still far behind. So that's one, the comfort zone. The second problem I see is there's a lot of bureaucracy involved the moment it comes to implementing anything new in large enterprises. So in certain banks, if you want to implement one technology, there is one person to approve it, but like there are at least 15 departments whose only job is to shoot it down. The compliance, the legal, the security, like there are too many complications. Because the government makes it hard for a bank to change. There are RBI restrictions. So people are really scared many times because of internal and external circumstances, if they should even take that pain of changing. Third, generally, like the awareness of what is accessible is a problem. So many times people don't even know that they could automate this process, because most of the innovation that we are seeing in the enterprise software space, at least the area that I operate in, is not happening in India. It's happening in the US or Israel. And those companies are only focused in the US market. So many times people don't even know that this solution exists. And that's one of the problems we are solving for as well.
Absolutely, I agree with you, because I think the awareness is something which is of a paramount importance, and I can see that you have been doing a great job, in terms of bringing these Israel brands in India. Can you just talk about this corridor? How and what have been the key advantage for both the Indian and Israeli companies, for through this corridor?
No, like I said, like the partnership is pretty solid. You have great consumer stories in India and great B2B stories in Israel, and both complement each other. And I feel there's a lot of learnings to be shared. For instance, we always organize learning sessions where an Israeli founder in the security space or DevOps space comes and shares learning with one of our customers in India on how they build their fraud engine, for instance, or how they build continuous integration deployment solutions. On the other side, Indian companies are very good at scale. So sometimes you will take an Indian founder to talk to an Israeli founder to look at how to scale the company to larger numbers. So that's pretty much as a collaboration, and I feel India Israel has a very good friendship. If as an Indian you go to visit Israel, you'll be greeted with a big hug, because Israelis really love Indians. They have fond memories, and Indians have a lot of respect for what Israelis have achieved in terms of their tech landscape.
So are you getting any kind of support from the government on this initiative?
We've never actively reached out to the government for any support, but every time there is an event, or we work with the Indian embassy in Israel or the uh, Israeli embassy in India. They've always been very supportive whenever we needed them. So it's a very cordial relationship. They're always very proactive about promoting the India-Israel business corridor. Um, so I think the government is generally very proactive and excited about this relationship.
Okay. And now, can you just brief us a little bit about your GTM, your go-to-market for these companies?
Yeah, so we are largely going after high growth companies who are really serious about disruption. They have a certain focus area. Let's say they want to solve for food delivery, and we go after all such companies which have a game changing problem to solve, and we're saying, okay, there are 10 pillars of support across cloud data security that would help you reach there faster. And we work with all the major funds in India, Sequoia, Axel, Tiger, Matrix, to support their portfolio companies with such growth areas. We all are personally also investors. We've invested in 8 funds as LPs and over 35 startups, where the moment we invest, we also become the product and tech advisors in a way, or GTM advisors for SaaS companies. So that's a big GTM motion for us.
Okay. Thank you. I think investing in 35 odd companies sounds pretty interesting, for me and for the audience listening to us. So can you also talk about a little bit in terms of your business achievement in the recent days, and what is your outlook for the next 2 years down the line?
So our revenues have been growing, our team's been growing. We've achieved a lot of success in generating 10 to 20% revenue for several of the companies that we represent. For instance, we represent a company in Israel. They are valued at $650 million, and 20% of the revenue is driven through us. So we've cracked a model where if you're a great SaaS company, we're able to generate 10 to 20% of your overall revenue from the Indian market very quickly, which helps us attract more and more companies to work with us. And second, we are creating a very strong ecosystem for our companies and partners to evolve very fast. So we are going and saying, if you work with us or you engage with us, we're not here to just help you with these solutions, but we're building an ecosystem so that anything that can help you grow, which is cross learnings and strategic capital, anything that can help you evolve as a company, as an individual, is our goal. So our outlook for the next 2 years is to create almost 500 meaningful connections between Israeli Indian companies, create a lot of investments between the two countries, and a lot of collaborations.
Wow, Saket, thank you so very much. With this, we come to the end of this episode. Thanks, Saket, for such an insightful session, and we really had a great pleasure interacting with you.
With pleasure. Thank you, Anuj. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, Saket.
For more updates from CXO TV, please like and subscribe to our channel.